Some of you might have noticed in my recent videos, I've got new wheels on my Ioniq 5. And when you get new wheels, you might as well get new tires as well. I thought it was time for a change. I show you guys my car very often, so I wanted to kind of upgrade to a new wheel. Over the summer, I did see a video from my friend Kyle Connor of Out of Spec Reviews about a wheel company called Martian Wheels that has been making fully forged alloy wheels for Teslas for a few years now. And in that video, the owner, Drew, showed off a bunch of new wheels that they have designed and made for other EVs outside of Tesla. And obviously, when I saw his wheels on an Ioniq 5, my interest was piqued. So I reached out to Martian Wheels about featuring their wheels in a video. Now, in full transparency, Martian did give me a 50% discount on this set of wheels. But regardless of that discount, I still put a lot of money into this set of wheels. I could have gotten 4 other cheaper wheels for less than half of the cost of this set. If you go to Martian's website right now, these are currently running about $1,000 a piece. So I understand that these wheels are going to be priced out of a lot of people's shopping lists. Now, if you're somebody that wants super light, super strong wheels, these might be a good option for you. So these are going to be Martian Wheels MW05s. They're 19-inch. I opted not to up to the 20-inch because I care more about ride quality than having the bigger wheel. And I wanted to reduce the weight of my wheels as much as possible to maximize my range and efficiency. So these are a 5-spoke design and they are fully forged. Now, what does that mean? A forged alloy wheel means that they took a solid disc of aluminum alloy and they basically shaped it into that final size. Unlike the stock wheels of any car you're gonna find, those are cast aluminum alloy. So they basically make a mold out of sand and then they dump this molten aluminum into that mold. And what kind of happens, because it is molded, it's not as strong as a forged wheel. The forging process makes the aluminum alloy much stronger as it aligns the crystal structure of the metal. Unlike when you cast metal, where those structures just don't form because it's not being stretched and pulled like with the forging process. So these wheels are going to be far more rigid than the alloys that come on the car. So if you live in an area that has lots of potholes, rough roads, these are likely never going to break when going through a pothole. With cast alloy wheels, those wheels can break when going through potholes and such. These are much lighter than the cast alloy wheels that come with many other cars. So in tandem with being lighter, that leads to increased efficiency as well as range. Because my original wheels still have their tires mounted to them, I couldn't get an exact weight on the bare wheel itself, but Drew from Martian tells me that these wheels are going to be roughly 10 or 12 pounds lighter per wheel versus the stock alloy wheels. So you're talking a weight reduction on this car of close to 50 pounds overall. So with a vehicle, you have what's called unsprung weight and sprung weight. Sprung weight is going to be everything that is connected to the axles. So in this case, it's the body, it's the motors, it's everything except the suspension system. And all the suspension components are considered unsprung mass. Now, when you reduce the weight of unsprung mass, it has a drastic effect on the performance of the car. So as you reduce unsprung mass of a vehicle, it's going to make it perform better in regard to how quickly the suspension can recover from springing up and down. So that's why in most race cars, you're gonna find either carbon fiber or forged alloy wheels. Now, I'm not a race car driver, so that doesn't really concern me too much, but there should be some bit of performance increase in terms of the suspension. And I really do love the way they look. This is the satin black version. You can get it in gloss black, matte black, gold colors. You can get it pretty much however you want it. So that's my new wheel setup. But now let's talk tires. So what you're gonna find mounted on these Martian wheels are Michelin X-Ice studless winter tires. So over the last 2 years that I've owned my Ioniq 5, I have not had a set of dedicated winter tires for it. Now, I will admit, last winter was a little dicey with the all-season tires that came with this car when we did get a little bit of snow and ice. I did have a couple close calls, so I really wanted to get some winter tires for this season. These are the stock size. They're 235/55 R19s, so no change in the tire size. And now that I finally have some winter tires, I'm excited to do some testing for you guys to see the kind of reduction you're gonna see in efficiency with a winter tire. All the efficiency data I have on this car has been with the stock all seasons. So I know many of you live in cold climates and have to put winter tires on your cars. So that is something to really consider when you buy an EV, is how much of a range hit are you gonna take when you put on dedicated winter tires that are gonna be much stickier versus the all seasons in the winter. The all seasons efficiency in the winter should be pretty decent because that rubber compound isn't designed for cold temperatures, so it gets pretty stiff. Now, you don't necessarily want a stiff tire in the winter because that means you're not going to get as good of a grip on the road surface. So you want a tread compound that's going to be a little more supple, a little softer, and really be able to stick to that road surface when it gets really cold. But with that stickiness comes more rolling resistance, so that's what's going to lead to decreased efficiency. And obviously cold weather also reduces efficiency because you're running the heater in the car and the battery pack needs to be heated, and it just doesn't perform as well in cold temperatures. Again, in full transparency, Michelin did provide these tires to me free of charge. And on top of these Michelin X-Ice, I also reached out to Bridgestone and asked if they wanted to send over a set of Blizzaks. And the reason I asked Bridgestone to send the Blizzaks is because other than Michelin X-Ice, they're probably the next top dog when it comes to winter tires. So I really wanted to see if there was any significant difference between efficiency with these two tires, as well as just general winter performance. So I'm going to keep these Michelin X-Ices on the car for about half of the winter, and then the second half of the winter, I'm going to put the Bridgestone Blizzaks on, and we'll do some testing with those as well. And I also want to give a shout out to Key Hyundai of Manchester for mounting and balancing these tires on the wheels. I did put TPMS sensors in all four wheels, and I am happy to report that they do actually auto-program to the car after a few hours of driving. Because I didn't ask Key Hyundai to mount the wheels onto the car and program them. I just picked up the wheels one day and mounted them myself. And the first few hours, I was like, why aren't the wheels reading on the car's infotainment display? But then suddenly the next day, I found that they had connected, so that was awesome. Now, in terms of the weight reduction I'm seeing with this set of wheels and tires versus the stock all seasons with the factory wheels, this wheel and tire is about 3 pounds lighter than the stock setup. So you're talking about 12 pounds roughly across all four wheels. Obviously, that's not as good as I was hoping, but these winter tires weigh more than the regular all seasons did. Next spring, I am also going to be testing out some new dedicated EV all seasons. Those are going to be the Hankook Ion AS SUV all season tires. And I bought these earlier this year, like in April of 2023, because my all seasons were getting pretty worn down. I wanted to replace them. So this all happened before I was planning on getting another set of wheels and tires for the winter. So I was gonna throw those on for this winter season. So next spring, I will probably mount those Hankooks onto the stock wheels because I know a lot of you aren't gonna go out of your way and buy these wheels. So I'd rather give you guys efficiency data and noise performance information on the stock wheels versus aftermarket wheels. So yeah, I am dying to get some snow here in central Connecticut to take these bad boys out and really put them through their paces. I was actually just reading an article today about how little snow New England in general has gotten in the last couple years. I understand that winter tires do help in general, but the real performance gain is when you get to drive them in the snow. So in general, my first impressions with these tires, so much better in the wintertime in terms of handling and performance. These things do not chirp or squeak when going around corners at a good clip. These are a huge upgrade in terms of winter performance versus those all seasons. So anyway, guys, just wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on with wheels and tire testing here on the Ioniq Guy channel. If you guys liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Check out my store if you want some accessories for the Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, or Genesis GV60. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.